Sadly, I did not hit the record button in time, so all of that beautiful opening speech, I hope you found it beautiful. It's not going to be recorded, but anyways, let's just get started. So a few rules, right? Uh, a few rules. Please use respectful language, be kind, ask your questions as respectfully as you can. Do not interrupt the speakers or the facilitators. If you have a question, please raise your hand, and then we'll take that from you, and or you could instead type in the chat box, right? Your questions or your contributions or insights, or you could just raise your hand. And this is just to avoid rowdiness. And for your information, this meeting is now being recorded, and this is so that we are able to provide the replay to members of our community who are unable to attend this meeting at this time due to whatever reason. So yeah, let's be kind, let's be respectful. Open dialogue is key. If you are somebody who has learned all of the things that the speakers might be sharing today, approach it with a relearning mindset. Like, okay, yeah, I know these things, but it's great to hear somebody else's perspective, learn from somebody else's lived experience as well. So yeah, and for those of us who are not members of the community, this is the Artificial Intelligence and Blockchain Initiative for Africa. It is a non-profit for-profit organization that has been established since November 2024. And our mission here is basically to bridge the gap of innovation through artificial intelligence and blockchain initiatives. Our primary goal, and I'll try and share more at the end of the session, is to create a system where we are able to solve Africans' problems with the African way, create tools, leverage on existing tools to also challenge our systemic needs, addressing Africans' problems the way we need them addressed, right? So yeah, like I said, 3 sessions today. It is a workshop, so expect that there might be things you might be asked to do by the speakers, or maybe assignments, homework, a bit of homework left, or whatever else. So yeah, let's just get started because we have our first speaker here. And our first speaker is a dear friend, Henry Bassi. I cannot remember how I became friends with Henry. I really cannot, but I think it was, oh, I remember now. I cannot still remember how we became friends, but it was sometime in 2020, I believe, the lockdown year, the COVID year. We had time. We had so much time on our hands in 2020. There was basically nothing to do but just be at home. And one thing that I value and I always try to do is learn as much as I can every given opportunity that I have. And so I had time, which was an interesting break from med school at the time. I did not have to read my books. So I wanted to learn other things because I knew that coming back to school is back to anatomy and physiology and all of the strange things they teach us. So I wanted to learn digital marketing, and Henry had a focus group that was, basically sharing coupons for courses and information around courses you could just learn. And the Google Digital Skills for Africa was a trending course at the time, and so that group was like set up for that reason. So I was just one of the many people that were in that group, and Henry was like our boss, our guy that was showing us the ropes, helping us, answer important questions and stuff like that. And somehow, I finished. I don't know how I finished the digital skills certification. I got the certification, and somehow he has been a part of my life since 2020 with resources, with opportunity sharing. The group is still very much active, which is a great feat actually. But then Henry is brilliant. I really think that he is. I might not have told him as much, but I think he is brilliant. Many of the pieces he writes, he's a technical writer and the head of content at Hakamba. And I read some of his things and I just think, even the ones that are actually just absolutely witty, I just think, oh my goodness, there is a level of humor that requires a high level of intelligence. So I think Henry is brilliant. And today he's going to be walking us through artificial intelligence, an introduction to what it is, foundations therein, and basically what it's like to work using AI and what we can do to prepare ourselves. So just a bit of a brief bio about him. Henry Bassi, works at the intersection of deep tech and go-to-market strategy. He helps companies building in AI and machine learning, DevOps, and platform engineering bring their products to market in ways that resonate with developers. His work spans developer marketing, technical content strategy, and shaping how complex technologies are communicated and adapted. So, ladies, gentlemen, dogs, and cats, in case your pets are listening in as well, Henry, Basti, you guys, a round of applause. Thank you so much, Henry, for being here with me. I know it's not the easiest. It's such a huge sacrifice you've made, and I know that personally. So thank you, Henry. Over to you. The floor is yours.
Hey, thank you so much, Maria. As you described me, I was just blushing. If only you could see. Yeah, I met Mariam some time ago, and she was one of the most brilliant students in that my set. And over the years, I've come to see the things that she does, and she has been so amazing. So I'm so grateful for you for your growth and all. And thank you for having me in this meeting, in this workshop. So ladies and gentlemen, I want to thank you once again for joining us. I am most excited to be handling this topic, and because I've had the experience of I've had been because I've had the first-hand experience of the transformational power of AI, and I've been privileged to be in the room with the people that are building life-changing products using AI. I'm talking the likes of Bright Data, Code Rabbit, and all those international companies. So I've been privileged to work on strategizing and executing their GTM strategies. And then personally, I can testify that AI has helped me in my projects from ideation to implementation within minutes to a few hours. For work that would typically take like days into weeks and months. And I always say that AI is like water. Yeah, it's everywhere. It's all around us, but it depends on how you leverage it. So some of us we use water for cooking, we use it for we drink, we do laundry, sanitation, and so forth. Yet other people use that same water to power turbines that gives us electricity, or to move goods across the ocean, or to build economies. So you see, it's the same water, but different levels of uses. And AI is not the same. Okay, so some use it to write captions for your social media, others use it to automate businesses, yeah, and others use it to build new platform or scale insights across thousands of users. So that's why I love the theme of this workshop. So we want to take you from curiosity to creation, from just being a spectator to someone that takes action. So with that, let's get started. I have some slides here. I was able to quickly prepare yesterday. Can you see my screen? Please leave a reaction if you can see my screen.
Yes, we can.
All right. All right. So my topic is on what AI is and how it works and how it's changing Africa. So the objective we want to cover in this workshop is you get to understand the fundamentals of AI. So the key concepts, I'll quickly brush through this because we don't have enough time. I have like 45 minutes, so you can do the reading after this. Then we get to recognize the limitations in terms of African context, and then you know how to shape AI with local insights. Then we ideate on practical tools. We develop the useful tools, concepts, and context. Without you don't need a coding skill. I think Mariam already reinforced that. Then reflect on the future, and we consider stuff like the ownership, trust, and the impact on our society. So let me start with this. What do you think is a what do you think we are currently using AI for in Nigeria? Please just leave your suggestion in the chat. I'd love to see something. Let's do like 2 minutes. Okay, content writing. Anyone else? If you're not in Nigeria, I think we have people from other African countries in the chat. So if you're not from Nigeria, how do you use AI in your country? Yeah, social media, yeah, video generation. Yeah, thank you. All right. Yeah, Cody. Okay, let's move on. So the other day I was scrolling through my WhatsApp status and I stumbled on this status where my friend was saying AI company will release a very advanced model that they say it can compete with PhD students. It can write exams. It can write code for NASA. But do you know how Nigerians are using it? Someone will call AI to ask it to query his profile to know how many people interact with their tweets, or use AI to know why they are single, or this sort of very very low level, very funny usage. And and I think you can also relate with this because if you're on Twitter, you know how Nigerians are using Croc, right? Right? Yeah, exactly. So they will just be calling Croc on every flimsy thing, maybe use it to fight others, just finding trouble. So it's just like we Nigerians, we have, I don't know, I don't want to go there. But when I was working on a project for Flutterwave, it was an SEO project. And SEO works by you getting the keywords and try to rank for that. And the keywords, they always come with search volume. The more the search volume, the more you have opportunity to drive more traffic to your site. So when I was conducting keyword research for Flutterwave, I realized that you change the country to Nigeria. So I realized that most of the search volumes were like 10, 20, 30. So that means Nigerians were not searching for this thing. So if you're not searching for products like Flutterwave, what are you searching for? So we always have this kind of attitude, this kind of mindset. We are not curious. We are not explorative, and that's why we need to change it. And that's why I love this workshop. It's going to help you get from that level of curiosity to creation. So let's proceed. Okay. A quick introduction to artificial intelligence. So what we call AI is just a system where computer gets to undertake all these tasks is usually conducted by humans, such as learning, such as decision making. So we have um, if you're using your iPhone, you know that the facial recognition is AI. If you're using Android, you have the thumb, um, the that finger scanner that when you scan it opens your phone. Even when you're on TikTok, those those content that is suggested to you is sponsored by AI. But in between this AI, there are different underlying technologies that builds up to it. You have machine learning, which is quite common. You know what that is, and you can look it up later. You have deep learning, which advances machine learning. It helps in facial recognition, helps in image recognition. And then you have transformers. I think transformers has been the most, excuse me, transformers has been the most breakthrough technology for large language models as we have it today, because it helps AI to pay more attention to words and then ascribe more meaning to it. And then we have large language models that powers almost everything we have these days. Excuse me. And yeah, we have large language models. From large language models, we have retrieval augmented generation. And this is important because if you just rely on LLM, you get in trouble, because LLM relies so much on those data that it has been trained on. So with retrieval augmented generation, you get to input your own documents, your PDF, and other information that allows LLM to now retrieve the information and give you more contextual answers. But RAG also has its limitation because it works mostly on static data. It could be structured or non-structured, but more of static data. But if you want to give more power to your large language model, you need to use MCP, or Model Context Protocol. So this Model Context Protocol is able to interact and retrieve more structured information, like from your database, from your API, and give real-time information. It's just like me using ChatGPT to ask questions about when Hokuka died. If ChatGPT does not have, if the ChatGPT model was trained in 2019, it would not know. It would tell me no, Hokuka is still alive. But with RAG and with MCP, with RAG, it will now query the web and update the information, update to recent times, and then use it, pass that information to me. So that's how RAG works. And Model Context Protocol will give it a structured way to retrieve those information, both structured and secure way to retrieve it. And then you have AI agents. These ones are the tools that go and take actions on your behalf. But the difference between AI agents and agentic AI is that AI agents works under your control. You can control it more. You give instruction and it follows. But agentic AI is that one that is more independent. It takes action on your behalf. So you need to be very careful with this, except you have stomach to the stomach. You can stomach risks. But the one you need most is LLM plus RAG plus MCP, which is low risk and high value. And with this, you can build lots of stuff from it. So the next question, have you tried prompting ChatGPT with your local language or dialect? What happened? Let me see the curious people in this workshop. We have like 1 minute. Have you tried that? Okay, Grace, what happened? What did you see? Maria, you had disappointments. You know, Maria is from my state, but how can you not speak your language? You need to go back and learn your language. Yeah, Yoruba is very popular, so I guess so. But I'm from Akwa Ibom and we speak Ibibio. Now, let's see if ChatGPT understands my language. Boom. So this is what I type on ChatGPT. I said, Ete Abadie earphone. That means my man, what's up? How is it with you today? And see what ChatGPT returned to me. I don't understand. Maybe he's thinking that I speak Twi. I think Twi is one of the African languages. So he doesn't understand my language, that means there's a lot of work to do. And that's why we have this workshop. We need to do something about it. We need more representation in the AI landscape. So moving from here, let's see what is already being built in Africa. We have the Ulangizi. Sorry if I'm on mother some words here. I'm not from Malawi, so yeah. So it's a voice chatbot for farmers. So it provides agricultural advice to them in their own words. They have access to lots of data like rainfall and other data they can act on. And it gives them once they have this data, they can ask questions, and the app will provide solutions to them, advise them on what to do. And because it's in their own language, they get to understand better and take action appropriately. Then we have the Dukawala. So it's a large language model plus voice assistant for small businesses, small and medium businesses. So it helps them in data collection and tracking sales. And it uses WhatsApp, where all of us are chatting the most. Then we have the CEDA. This one is from Nigeria. So it's for it captures over 180 indigenous African languages. So I don't know why they have not captured AIBIA yet. I need to reach out to the guy. So we also have Cheetah and Serengeti. It's a language models for African diversity. It covers 570 languages, mostly for research and local adaptation. Then we have Kwame for science. This one teaches YX students using the exams questions. Also, we have ADVAC, forecast system, and also this data fights. So there are couples of them. Yeah. So my next question is which of these tools do you put as your favorite? And also, apart from this, do you know any other tool that has been developed within the African AI ecosystem? That's 1 minute. Okay, let me get back to so that you can see which of this is your favorite and why. Anybody? If you don't have a favorite, you can go and build your own. Let's move on. Oh, AI weather. Okay. So this is the current AI landscape in Africa. So as of June 2025, we had like 159 African AI startups, and that's much. And I've raised over $803 million. So, and we can say that they have tried, but it's still a fraction of what is obtainable at a global scale. So we have the countries that are doing this the most are Nigeria, Kenya, South Africa, and Egypt. And they have raised like over 83% of the funding in 2025. So major global players are also coming in. Example like Google, they have committed like 37 million to AI research, language tools, and startup. So if you're still sleeping, it's time to wake up and make use of this funding. Then there are also AI community center that open in Accra. And I don't know why they have not come to Nigeria. You need to investigate that. Then we have this company called Cassava Technologies. They are spearheading the development of AI data center in Africa, supported by NVIDIA. I don't know if you know NVIDIA. They produce all this GPU that is used to power all this their open AI and the rest, and are making trillions of dollars. However, I know we are trying our best, but if you compare it to the global scale, you know that a lot is still, we still need to do a lot. And in terms of language representation, so we have like 31 out of 2,000 African languages that is obtainable in the mainstream language models. For example, ChatGPT does not understand AIBIA, so we are still underrepresented. Then, if you check the contribution to research, you see that we have a very negligible number of AI researchers in Africa, like just 0.05% of published AI papers. So if you are in academics, this is your opportunity to get into that field and see what you can do. Therefore, just last month, Google released their major agentic AI investments. Sure, I will share after the workshop. So Google introduced this AI that can go shopping, take actions on your behalf. It will shop. In fact, once you use that app, you can see maybe you want this dress, but you don't know if it's going to fit you. You can use AI to now model it according to your shape, and you see how it's going to look on you. Then AI will also pay for you. So these are what is happening. It's happening in the West. And also, nearly half of the world's high-performance AI chips are owned by the US and China. So most of the global south, we are just like computing deserts. Then when it comes to control, we only have firms like OpenAI, Google, and Amazon, and Anthropic that control most of the advanced models, hosting, and platforms. So most times they just outsource the data labeling to us, which and anything that has to do with decision making, that the ones handling it. Those of you in blockchain, you advocate for decentralization. So what can you do about this? Then also, lastly, that major data companies are consolidating. So just, I think recently, Databricks acquired Neon. Neon used to be one of our customers. They run a database for GraphQL. So they got acquired by Databricks, and Salesforce bought Informatica. So these guys are trying to centralize the control and centralize infrastructure, consolidate all the infrastructure. So now you've seen the problem, the imbalance is high, and someone needs to step in. But then, would you trust AI to do shopping for you? Maybe you get to Jumia, you go to Jumia, use your credit card to buy something, call a dispatch rider, and send to your house. Will you trust AI to do that for you? If not, why? And we can use 2 minutes to answer that. Why though? Okay, I think I can't trust AI because when you don't know the origin of stuff, it's very hard for you to trust it. We don't own the data, we don't own the infrastructure, and then you just submit that sort of data. Okay, so you don't trust it with that sort of data. Something might happen, it can ruin you. So yeah, it's a high trust kind of technology. But when we start to own it, maybe that trust will start to develop. Yeah, data protection. Thank you. So why we need more infrastructure now than apps? So when people think of AI or building AI solutions, they usually think of ChatGPT. Can we use that? Exactly. I read the news some days ago. Even Sam, the owner of OpenAI, said so in the podcast that they can submit ChatGPT in the court and they can use it in litigation. So That's it. So when we think about AI, most people think, oh, we need to develop app, dashboards, chatbots, all that. But I think the what we need now is infrastructure. Yeah, because once you have the infrastructure, a lot can happen. It's like you have a buoyant economy, but you don't have road. How can how can people access where they want to go to? How can people travel to market to sell their goods and come back? So if you don't have infrastructure, the economy will not work. And when we talk of AI infrastructure, I'm not talking about all those high cost things like GPU. No, there's no way you can compete with NVIDIA. They have taken over that market. I think we have other players, but they are more prominent. I'm talking about data because data informs AI. Once you have AI and data, you can do anything. You can feed it into your LLM, and it gives you new insights. You can use protocol like MCP to query your very structured database and build new app from it, new transformational app from it. So what I mean by data is all this local data around us. It could be you can start gathering all these local price logs, which is good uh, for accurate market questions and economic analysis. Let's say, every day because of the inflation, every day the prices for commodities are changing. So you can curate all those and store in one database and you use MCP to update it. So once you have a database, people can um, can use that database to now build app that if I'm going to the supermarket, I'll now check the price of this good. Oh, this one has gone up. Will I be able to afford it? No, let me look for the alternative. Then also dialect and language collection. You have AI that ensures understand how people communicate locally. So we've talked about language so much, and I gave example now of how ChatGPT misunderstood my own language. Also, you have data on cultural rules. There are some taboos in your village that once you create an app, you want it to avoid. You don't want it to make that mistake. And that's what we call local context. And then you have a local API. So once you collect this data, you now build a data infrastructure that people and extend it through API that someone that is building software can consume it to build its own application. Then also we move to verification systems. How do you trust the data? Who will govern this data? So I think this is where we can leverage blockchain and all that. So without these crucial inputs, we can't advance our AI tools, and it cannot understand local context. So whatever we build will always be dressed in a foreign outfit. Yeah, so we need to get this infrastructure off for us to get to that point of local context in AI. So talking about infrastructure, well, I happen to work with these guys, Bright Data. So they are one of our customers. Since they came in, these guys have been building so many resources. They have been gathering resources on everything AI, both the data pipeline, the models, the workflow, the proxies, everything about AI. Once you open this website, you get to see the amazing stuff these guys are doing. So they are busy building the infrastructure while others are building the apps, they build infrastructure. And with time, people will come back to this and be like, can I get this information from you? And they push it out, we get their money. I know these days everything is on subscription. So you have to subscribe to their services. And imagine like 10,000 companies using Bright Data for their data infrastructure. You know how much they're going to make. So this is more reason we need to invest in AI data infrastructure. So you can check out Bright Data later. Now the next question, in your community or sector, what's the one piece of data that no AI tool knows about but should? I'm actually curious about this one. What's that piece of data that no AI tool knows about but should? Anyone? Diversity. Okay. What do you mean by diversity? Is it biological diversity? I know you studied human anatomy, medical laboratory. Yeah, can recall that. Mm. Okay. Any other suggestion? Any other response? Answers? Yeah, exactly. Medical database. Even some hospitals, they don't have database. In fact, it just recently, one of my friends built the database for you. That's what most hospitals are still using. They're still using paper and pen. They use files. They move files about. Meanwhile, you can enter all the patient details into the computer and query it anytime you want. In fact, you can use AI to now understand their progress. If they're coming back for this illness, what's happening? AI will give you provide more insight, but we are not doing that. So a lot is still missing. Okay, so I have a workbook for us that will help us internalize all this stuff we are learning, and we'll try to map out how different components of the AI stack, from data models to agents, could be used to address the problem. Yeah, we can use to address all our different problems. So let me quickly take you through the workbook. I think we've come on time, so I can pass to the next speaker. So I will share the workbook in the chat so you can work on it in your spare time. So it's to design your AI system that can use more of local context. So what's the first thing is, what's your community problem? You identify one challenge in your community that an AI assistant could solve. It could be market prices that keep changing, as I discussed later, and traders lack updated information, or people can't find verified artisans in the area, etc. These are the suggestions that you can work on. Then you map the AI stack. Then you break your solution into layers. You are building a system, and one that understands and remembers and then acts. Then you have the LLM layer, which is what conversation do you want the AI to handle? Example, where can I get cheap rice today? Then the rack knowledge, what documents, notes, or data do you need for this your AI? It could be flyers, PDF, audio notes, spreadsheet, or even WhatsApp history. Then the agents, what can AI do once it understands? Will it search, fetch, or send something? For example, it can send SMS to 3 vendors comparing tomato prices. Then what kind of decision do you want the AI to make? And when should you step in? So, for example, AI can draft loan form, but waits for the officer to approve. Then what's the trust point of verification? Where does the info come from? Who verifies the truth? Is this where you need blockchain? Yeah. And then you can now present your solution in your group later on. Then finally, if someone uses this tool in your community, what's the one mistake it must never make? So let me copy and share in the group. Yeah. So with this, we've come to the end of the workshop, and I hope you've learned a lot, and you can, with all this information, you can now take your curiosity and move it into creation. Thank you so much for listening, and just stay by to join the next workshop. Stop sharing.
Thank you so much, Henry. Thank you very much. And to think that you actually were able to pull those slides together in less than 24 hours, that was brilliant. Okay, I think we have a question. Emmanuel, you are raising your hand. Do you have a question? Or was that an error?
No, it wasn't a question. I was just going to appreciate Henry for his contribution and for all that he has shared. Thank you very much, Henry.
Okay. Thank you, Emmanuel. All right. Do we have questions? Is there anyone? I know that the slides were very detailed and very comprehensive. So what we're going to do is we're going to be sharing the slides after on, our channels, so they're able to go through it again. This is like the first workshop of many, so obviously there are going to be more in-depth conversations as time allows us, and more hands-on training. Right, so yeah, thank you very much, Henry. Please let's celebrate him with our emojis. Clap, 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 clap. Say thank you, Henry. Thank you, Henry. Thank you, Henry. Thank you so much, Henry. Alrighty. Thank you to everyone who has, listened so far, who has been with us from the beginning, who joined us right to the middle. I know that telecoms these days, I don't know what they are doing, but a lot of us are experiencing network issues. So I can see a lot of people going in and out of the meeting. And so, yeah, thankfully this meeting is being recorded. So the replay will be made available in case you missed any crucial part. Okay. All right. So we are moving on to the next phase. Henry, are you going to drop the workbook on the chat box? Okay,
I think I can send it to you. Can I send it to you?
All right, that'll be great. Yes.
Okay, please. I have to drop off, and I have some work to do in the company.
Yeah. No problem.
Yes,
Thank
okay.
you for using your lunch hour with us. So thank you very much. All right. So when Henry sends over the slides and the workbook, I'm going to be sharing it on all the platforms. So if you've not joined our platforms, it's a pinned text in the chat box. You could join us on WhatsApp, on Telegram, and Discord, and that also takes into account our social media platforms. We're on X, we're on LinkedIn, Facebook, I believe. Yes. So, all right. We are moving on to the next speaker, but we are experiencing some technical issues because he just texted me that he's back. All right. So we are switching things up. We are going to handle the critical thinking part because sadly the speaker for blockchain foundations is also experiencing some technical issues, and I'm seeing messages as well. Let's pray that it's resolved. All right. So I don't know who is speaking, but please could you mute your mic? Could you mute your? Okay, all right, that's great. Okay, so now our next speaker is my boss. Someone I've known for a very long time as well, who is equally brilliant. Here at AIBIA, we honestly bring the best talent and experts to share with us. And we wanted to discuss something important. When I prepared this event brief, he was asking me, "Oh, critical thinking." I was like, honestly, everybody needs to. I think that's something that we don't talk about enough, but especially in this time of AI, critical thinking is a skill that we need to have and continuously hone, right? Because it's one thing to talk about blockchain, it's one thing to talk about AI, it's one thing to talk about dev outreach and all of those things. But it's also very important that we learn critical thinking, not just for the now, but also for the future. Because the person who would be relevant in 10 years, 15 years, we honestly don't know how much AI would have changed in the next decade. But people who will be relevant then are people who are able to think, have a creator's mindset, and be able to innovate regardless of the tools available to them. So yeah, let's just get right into it. I think that we might be unable to have the speaker for blockchain, but let's just see how it goes, because he's also experiencing a lot of issues where he's at Rwanda. He is a repeat speaker at AIBIA, so in a way we'll forgive him and his current circumstances, and for that I do apologize. I do hope that the issues are going to be fixed before then. If not, we might have to wrap up here and then pick up blockchain segments much later. But just a bit of let's just share a bit about our speaker, Yemi. Mr. Yemi Solves. Solves is not his last name, by the way. I know someone has asked me that. Solves is not his last name, but it's just something that it's an alias that he has taken up over the years, and it's very much part of his identity. Okay, all right. So he is an AI innovator. He is an AI innovator with extensive experience in business and technology. As and CEO of marketing, an AI-driven marketing startup, and the co-director of AIBIA. Yay! He champions AI, AGI, and Web3 education for Africa. He is a brilliant man, and today, his last name, what is his last name? I'm not sure I can pronounce it well. I would remember. I always see it when finances happen at the company. Then I see that oh yeah, this is his last name. I think he will share with us if he wants to. But yeah, it's going to be sharing with us critical thinking. So let's just sit tight and ask again. Like I said, ask any questions that you have. No question is silly. No question is so simple. So yeah, okay. He said Solves is now his last name, official and legal. So yay. That is very interesting to learn now. But all right, Mr. Yemi, over to you.
Okay, thank you, everyone. Thank you, Miriam, and amazing job you're doing. All right, so we're going to have an interesting time, right? I'm very happy to be here, and one of the objectives of AIBIA here is to ignite a thinking perspective towards a new dawn of African digital revolution, right? By having conversations, dialogues around several different topical sectors, as it applies to emerging technologies like AI, machine learning, Web3, blockchain, and robotics and the likes. Okay, so this workshop, I know that the first speaker has spoken a lot about yes, the use of artificial intelligence. Intro, more or less, like give us a walkthrough, a foundational walkthrough into artificial intelligence and the impact or relevance of artificial intelligence for us here in Africa, and why we should begin to create with AI rather than just consuming with AI. So what Africans are known as consumers. We are very good with consuming. We consume a lot. We consume everything. And rarely do we create, or we are not creating enough, right? Of course, we are creating. We have creators, we have innovators, but we are not doing enough of it. We are not doing it so well. Okay. And so this workshop goes beyond. In fact, in this workshop, we are not discussing consumption. We are focused on creation, right? And the second speaker facilitator is going to, cover the area of smart contracts, blockchain, and the likes. Okay, so I have a somewhat more interesting job to do, and because the job Miriam and team has given me to do is a job that is less straightforward, if I'm to put it that way, and can be regarded as somewhat ambiguous to discuss, right? So it's quite delicate and technical. And as a matter of fact, a challenge for me is to communicate it to you as practically as I can, as practically and best as I can. So, and that's what I'll try and do. Okay. I have been told to teach us on creative thinking, right? And so I'm going to start by doing of what should I call it now? I'll ask some questions, right? No, just one question. Let me not say some questions, okay? I want to ask just one question, okay? And I want to know what everyone thinks about this question, okay? And here's the question. Are you ready? Please let me know if you're ready. Thumbs up, emoji, whatever, just let me know if you're ready. Show me that you're ready for this like question, okay? This question, there's no right or wrong answer, okay? So let me know if you're ready. Okay, good, we are ready. Here's my question. Do you think technology makes you dumber or smarter? Now, when I say technology, I am not saying AI, neither am I saying Web3. I am saying technology as technology is. Technology is anything that makes life easier. Your phone is a technology. Your radio was once a technology. There was a time when matchbox was a technology. There was a time when, so technology is anything that, optimizes a process for you, or optimizes a task for you, or makes a task easier for you, right? Aha. Your ergonomic chair is a technology. So point is, I am saying technology generally. So the question is it making you a dumber human being or a smarter human? Okay, I'm seeing some really interesting perspectives here. It depends on the situation. Okay, how you put it to use makes you smarter or dumber. Smarter. Okay, it makes you smart if you use it productively. Okay, so I see that most of the answers I'm seeing here are conditional, right? So depends on how you use it, where you use it, the situation and the likes. Okay, beautiful. I'm not going to answer the question if it is right or wrong. Because I'm going somewhere, okay? And this is where I'm going, right? In discussing creative thinking, okay, so I feel like asking another question. What is creative thinking to you? Okay, what is creative thinking to you? Or what do you consider to be creative thinking? Yeah. Just I'd like to see 1 or 2 or 3 responses. What is creative thinking to you? Or what do you consider as creative thinking, basically? Yeah. What's creative thinking to you? What do you consider as creative thinking? Okay, thinking with openness. Okay. Any other, perspective? Ingenious way of doing things or reasoning. Okay. The ability to bring that idea beyond what you are usually used to. All right. Okay. Beautiful. Okay. Thinking with a resolve to learn and not to particularly solve. This is, another perspective. Okay. Nice. Now, this simple exercise has proven something, which is we all have different perspectives to what creative thinking is, right? But despite the somewhat different perspectives, or definition to what creative thinking is, there is a unifying element, right? Which is new, right? Doing something, it's either something is done in a new way, all right, or novelty. Let me just call it novelty. So the unifying element is novelty. Okay, maybe new approach, new form of thinking, addressing the problems in a different or new way, and the likes. Or, yeah. So that's the unifying element in the differing, which are actually similar perspectives to hard definitions, right? And the reason why I said all of that is because I am about to bring to you a different perspective entirely. Okay. And the reason why I'm going to do that is because this is a workshop for developers. This is a workshop for innovators. This is a workshop for the, Steve Jobs of tomorrow, people who are going to, solve an actual problem. People who are going to solve an actual problem, right? And then bring something out of it. Okay. All right. So please confirm if you can hear me clearly. Please confirm if you can hear me clearly. Okay. So people who are going to solve an actual problem in the society, and then they're going to turn that problem or that particular problem or those problems into opportunities. All right. So because this workshop is geared towards this set of people, I am going to introduce us to a different perspective, all right, to creative thinking. Okay, and this is something I have been ruminating on and experimented with, in my mind for quite some time now. Okay, I have had the opportunity to discuss it in 2 to 3 occasions. Either I think there was a Twitter space where I, discussed it, and I also discussed it amongst in 2 other occasions like that. Okay, so I want to discuss it again with you, and the truth is, it is mind blowing. Okay, and I'm going to begin from this point. Now, I want to take it from AI. Let me start with AI. Okay, so when you think of AI, you think of, more specifically, because when you say AI, many people don't know that AI is massive. Okay, so specifically, I'm speaking to generative AI. So when you say generative AI, what does generative AI do? Generative AI feeds you an output based on input of data with which it has been trained on. Okay, so when you ask ChatGPT, what is a book? ChatGPT is able to analyze that. Oh, you said what is a book. Why? Because ChatGPT has been trained in English language, so it knows that what is what in English. It knows that book is book in English, and then it knows that what is a book is what is a book, which is a question in English. Right? Not just that, ChatGPT has also been trained to understand definitions of each word. Okay, so it knows that what is so. It knows what is. It knows what D is. D is an article, right? And then it knows book. Okay, so when you then ask what is a book, the ChatGPT is able to feed you an output based on that your prompt, because ChatGPT has been trained on English language data sets, number one. ChatGPT has been trained on grammatical usage, grammatical principles in the English language, right? ChatGPT has been trained on with different loads of data that pertains to that particular prompt with which you have asked, with which you have fed it. So when it gives you the answer, A book is a volume of this, that, and that, a volume of knowledge, and it gives you such answer. Now, that is an example of what ChatGPT can do for you. There are other examples, like maybe you prompt it to, give you an image, and it does that. And then now we have the recent Google VO, which has been creating lots of interesting videos, right? Now, when you look at that, you will say, oh, that is creation, right? That is creation, because it is creating something new. You call that creation. As a matter of fact, we call graphic designers, copywriters, we call them creatives, in the business environment. Why do we call them creatives? Because, they are able to develop something new. Okay. Now, when you say creation, there are two types of creation. There is the creation of, that we are familiar with ChatGPT, which is based on existing data, right? So based on the existing data, it's able to come up with an information, right? And they say it creates it, even though the information it came up with is not particularly new. But the fact is, it can create it. It could create it. Okay. And then there's the other level, which is based on data, it's able to give you a different blend of idea, or a different blend of outputs, right? Maybe image format or text format. Okay, you still call that creation or creative. Okay, it's just like how a writer will write based on existing information or data, right? It's still creative. Okay, that is one part of creation. That is one type of creation. There is the other type of creation, which is the creation I want to talk about here, which is the creative I want to talk about here. And vis-a-vis the creative thinking I want us to address here. Okay. Now, this other part of creation is what I call the actual creation, right? Where okay, be as a Christian, permits me to reference Christian theology, right? Theology is the study of God. Okay, so in Christian theology, and according to the story of Christian creationism, it is written that God said, let there be light, and there was light. Now, before the proclamation of let there be light, there was darkness. Everywhere was dark. There was nothing, right? It was written that it was, void. It was known and void. It was just dark. It was just nothing. So before the existence of light, there was nothingness. Okay. And God, it was written that God spoke. And when God spoke, he said, let there be light. And then there was light. Okay. Right. In Christian theology, you can argue further that the reason why there was light is because God himself is light. Okay. But that's in the conversation from that time. But this is what I'm trying to reference to you. There was nothing, and then there was something. There was nothing, and then there was something. Now, let me repeat that. There was nothing, and there was something. Okay? So, there is a part of creation where there is a form of transformation of nothingness to somethingness. If you can put it that way. So this is the type of creation and creative thinking, I want us to address, where you transform nothingness to somethingness. Now, basically what I'm doing is I'm trying to take your mind on a journey to what I'd like to call a higher plane of thinking. Okay, take your mind on a journey to a higher plane of thinking. All right, where you are not just thinking um, data transformation. No, you are thinking the real transformation, which is an ethereal form of transformation. Okay, enough of philosophical talks and the like. So I want to try and take you to the practicality of this. Okay. So now that I've explained these two types of creation, and thus also explained or briefly introduced you to the second type of creation, which is transformation from nothingness to somethingness. Now, let us go to creative thinking, okay? And let's bring it to our world here, which is here in Africa, where we are laced with multifaceted layers of problems across different sectors, right? I was watching a video recently, and I think it was the president. Was it the president now? No, it was one of the government officials in Ghana. So it was a panel discussion, and it was a recent, in a recent conference in Ghana. I'm trying to remember the conference now, in Accra, Ghana, and then I was listening to what this man was saying, and this man was speaking to how that the democracy we have is not our democracy. It is a borrowed democracy, and that is why it is not working. You know, and that speaks to one layer of the many layers of the kind of problems that African leaders are battling with. So we have the internal level of we have the internal problems, the external problems, and a whole lot of them. Okay, so people like us, young people like us, who are interested in innovating and innovating and developing solutions for the world around us. We can we often have a lot of problems to battle with, right? So where I'm going is this: for us, I want this session to be. This session is where I help you to transcend from the conventional mode of creative thinking to a higher form of creative thinking. Basically, that's what I'm trying to achieve here. Okay, because I understand that after this workshop, there'll be an hackathon, and based on the hackathon, people will be invited to develop solutions, and also I want to try and speak to that. Okay, because the truth is, let me tell you for a fact. Okay, there is no problem that you think you want to build solution for right now, that somebody somewhere is not building solution for it. Okay, it's either you don't know the person yet, or you don't know that somebody is trying to, you don't know about it yet, or whoever is building it is not building it well enough. Point is, it's problems are all around, and as humans, we are creative beings, so we are always wanting to fix whatever it is that is wrong in our environment. That's how God created us. God created us to create, to procreate, and then to create. That's why we have built a world of technology for ourselves. Okay, so
So we've lost you. Or is it just me? Can anyone hear him? Or
No, I can't. I can't hear him.
okay, all right. Network again. Honestly, we need to do something about our telecoms in Africa and in Nigeria, especially. Okay, I apologize. Please let's just wait a couple of minutes for him to get right back. My apologies. Please just let's just wait a little bit more for him. But in the meantime, to just keep us engaged, could you please drop where you are in the world, where you're listening from? So like your name or just your country. So you could just say, I know Grace is in Oshun, Nigeria. So you could type Grace Oshun, Nigeria, or Grace Nigeria, or just Nigeria to represent. So let's just rep our countries in the chat box so we know how many countries are represented here today while we wait for our speaker to resolve his technical issues. Oh, is it pronounced Aisha or is it pronounced Aisha? From Tanzania, Jane from Kenya. Brilliant, brilliant. So I'm Miriam from Nigeria. I currently am in Lagos, Nigeria. Come on, guys, rep your countries, your cities in the chat box. Valerie from Kenya. Valerie from Kenya. I really like that there are an increasing number. There's an increasing number of Tanzanians here. That wasn't the case about a month, 2 months ago. We usually just had Kenyans, Rwandans, and every other person. But now, Tanzanians are joining us, and we are so glad to have them. Blessing is from South Africa. Rose from Nigeria. Okay. And this network must be really bad. I'm so sorry, everyone.
Hello, please confirm if you can hear me. Hello.
Yes, we can. We can
Okay,
now.
sorry,
Thank God
my
you're back.
network. Yeah. So I've had to join another device. So uh, this what was the last at what point did you stop following so I can pick it up from the beginning, you know?
Well, basically, you were around the part of on you really you're about to get into creative thinking proper um when you were cut off.
Okay. Oh, okay. Okay,
You've
beautiful. All right.
done
So
the preambles.
oh, okay, okay, okay. So I was saying that um one thing that I want us to achieve here is, as we as some of us here who are going to be showing interest in the hackathon, right? We want you to we want you to think beyond. We want you to think beyond, right? We want you to think beyond what you consider as your current level of thinking. Exactly. That is where I'm going. And that is why I started where I started, and I took us through the route, you know, that that I took us through that route. Okay, that's conversation route. Because sorry for the background noise, somewhere else, I'm not in my workspace. So now you see, we have to understand that as humans, we are naturally created to create. Like we have the innate ability to create. We are thinkers, we are innovators, we are creators. As a matter of fact, as a human being, if you have not created anything in life since you were born, there's something wrong. Okay. So it is a normal thing. Okay. So it's something natural to us. Okay. So we are not alien to creative thinking. Yes, we are not alien to creative thinking, and creative thinking is not alien to us either. So now, what is the higher plane of creative thinking I'm talking about? To begin to think from nothingness to something else. That is to say, we have to begin to tap into the. I'm trying not to sound so philosophical again. So we have to start bringing um, we have to start thinking beyond what we can see. Aha, that's the way to put it. Okay. And I think I have a formula for it. Okay. So, and that's how I'm going to get into the practicality of this. So I think I have a formula for it. So we have to start thinking beyond what we can see. All right, was why I gave us the example of how artificial intelligence, generative AI, because we can relate to that now because it's everywhere. Generative AI is generative AI today because it was fed with data. Okay, and then it can bring from that data, it can sort from that data, and then bring something for us, and then we are wow. Okay, so as humans, that's the same thing we do most of the time. We see something and based on, oh, okay, oh, this is an idea. Can we do this way? This is an idea. Oh, nice, 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 nice. Which is beautiful, which is still correct, which we will still do and continue to do. Okay, but for us in this hackathon, while we do that, I want to challenge us, right, to go beyond that. Okay, so these are the objectives of my talk with us. I want to charge us to do beyond that. Okay, now here's my formula to this higher plane of creative thinking. Okay, it's simple, and I curated this formula specifically for this session. Okay, something that I can use to capture all that I have been saying. All right, and it's very simple. All right, and here's what I'm going to call it. Okay, creative thinking. Sorry, I can't share my screen again because I'm using another device, so I cannot share my screen. So my plan was to, draw it out and map something for us. But anyway, so creative thinking is equal to solution thinking. All right, let me repeat that. Creative thinking is equal to solution thinking. You know, of course, you won't be don't be surprised because I'm giving some, so I will have to always see solutions. But yes, creative thinking is equal to solutions thinking. So now I'm going to explain solutions thinking to us. Okay. And I'm hoping that by the time I'm done, next 5 minutes or so, you would have been able to, in a way, um, have something that can enable you to practice what I have been um, um, explaining or I have been saying thus far. So now, what's solutions thinking? All right. So yeah, solutions thinking. Solutions thinking is the act of converting converting problems into opportunities. Okay. It is the act of converting problems into opportunities. All right. We are all familiar with problems, opportunities. This is something that is
around us. Many people have said it severally. Oh, problems, we see problems as opportunities and the like. So it's, it's not something alien to us, okay? But the idea is, when I say solutions thinking is the act of converting. Aha, that's where I'm going. Is the act of converting problems into opportunities. All right. So, and I'm going to give you two sub formulas for it. Or let me just start with one. Okay, let me say one. Maybe let me just do one so that I don't talk too much. Right. And this I called the law of opposites. All right. The law of opposites. Now, what and it's one of the things I came up with, while writing one of my books. The law of opposites. The law of opposites states that um, the opportunity is directly opposite the problem. All right, the opportunity is directly opposite to the problem. The opportunity is directly opposite to the problem. Okay. Now, this is what it means. All right, and I'm going to stop here. And when, let's say, for instance, um, okay, let me use something that we can also relate to. Let's say, for instance, you notice that you have not been, you've been having headaches. Okay, you've been having headaches, and you realize that the reason why you've been having headaches, okay, slight headaches, is because you've not been sleeping so well. So for the past 2 or 3 days, you've been sleeping maybe just 2 or 3 hours per day or 1 hour per day. You've just been overworking yourself. Okay, so, and this is something that some of us do a lot. Okay, so you've been overworking yourself, and because of that, you just notice that, okay, your body is giving you these signs that you need to rest. Okay, now that's a simple scenario to demonstrate the law of opposites. So you just thinking in your mind, you're like, okay, so what should I do now? Right? What you should do is very simple. Do the opposite of what you have been doing that led you here in the first place. Okay, so that is a simple scenario. So I'm looking for if I can give us a complex or a somewhat complicated scenario that I can use to explain this in time. So nothing's coming to my head now, but here's what I'm trying to do. Okay, I'm trying to help us see that if we want to create beyond, if we want to think beyond what is conventional, right? We have to start thinking about how to turn problems around us into opportunities. Now, for developers, this is even more technical than I'm saying it now. Okay, I'm hoping that in the course of the hackathon, we'll be able to have mini workshops in between, so we can explore this idea further. And I'm hoping that God help me, I'm able to, come up with some framework or some workbook that can help us, understand this better and apply this more practically. But the idea is, for instance, as a developer, while you are developing your applications or solutions, you come across many mini and mega problems such as bugs and the likes. You probably have issues with maybe the cloud setup or whatever, and then you have to fix it, right? But those are problems that there are already solutions for. So you don't even have to look for the solutions. You don't have to create the solutions. You already have the solutions created for you by people. You just need to tap into them. But then you might even come across problems that were that are existing because you were the one who inadvertently, caused the problem, for yourself. Maybe because you are trying to dabble into something you are not familiar with, and then it becomes a problem for you. All right, and then you just need to find somebody to help you through it. Now, then there is a problem of you wanting to actually fix something. So that problem is a problem around you. Let's say it's a problem. For instance, now we have a big payment infrastructure problem in Africa. Because today, now that I'm talking with you, we don't have a seamless payment infrastructure, right? I cannot just look up to that and say, in 2 to 3 times, I send money to Rwanda, send to South Africa, send, and it goes seamlessly back and forth, right? Of course, the reason why that problem exists is not, there are many reasons to it. There is the African leadership issue, there is the policies and all. So it's not a problem that a single individual can even fix. Okay, so now, and the reason why I am, giving us this charge is because even as I'm speaking to you right now, there are some problems that we are facing right now in this current climate that it appears we don't even have solutions to them. And even if we have solutions to them, it appears as though we don't even have idea on how to begin to implement such solutions, right? So I'm hoping that this hackathon, you can begin to think about some of these things and rack your brain, about how can we actually do something out of nothing. I think I should stop there. Please, I need to get feedback. What I've been saying so far, are you making sense of it? I hope I have not, taking you on a philosophical train and, we're just going from one place to the other. But I need to know, I need to get your feedback. Are you making sense of it? Is it making sense to you? Did anything even make sense to you at all? Right? And, what can you infer from all that I have said? And do you think you can pick something, or do you think you pick something that you can begin to maybe apply? Of course, the application is in the mind anyway. You can begin to apply, you can begin to, apply to your mind the way you address situations around you. I'd like to hear your feedback. What do you think of this? Right. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you, sir. Thank you very much. Yes, it was very interesting to hear. I liked that we do not have a slide of sorts. We were able to just hear your train of thoughts, and yes, absolutely lovely. Thank you very much, sir, for sharing. Okay, so we are almost out of time, but questions are important. Do we have questions? Do we have feedback that he has asked? Or is that something that's been on your mind as regarding the concept of creative thinking and critical thinking and solutions thinking and thinking in systems? There's a great book on thinking in systems. I'm trying to remember the author now. But it has been on my to be read list for a bit. But I've started anyways, and I think you should read it too. I think I'll share the PDF on the community platforms. But yeah, do we have questions for him? Are there any questions? Okay. So let's do like in Nigeria, primary school and nursery school teachers, elementary school teachers, they always the way they inquire feedback is very interesting. So they would say, "Do you understand? If you understand, say yes. If you do not, say no. Raise your hand if you understand. How many of you understood? Raise your hand. And then how many of you did not understand? Okay, raise your hand." So let's do that. If you understood, could you please celebrate with emojis so we know? Okay. Grace understood. So far, so good. Ayabami, Kikari. Okay. Valerie as well. All right, then. Brilliant. Okay, thank you all so much for being a part of this so far. I am incredibly grateful. And I want to apologize that we are unable to do the blockchain workshop. Our speaker was ready and set, but he's having a lot of issues on his part. All right, so we might have to like reschedule that specific session. But I think that what we'll do as well is also provide all the materials he was going to share when his connectivity is back up to us in the community, right? So thank you all for being present here, for being a part of this, for showing up your curiosity, for listening with intention, for making this conversation, the way it has been, and it has been brilliant. So just a bit of a disclaimer. Today was not about mastering everything. Today was not about reaching expert level. It was about starting. It was about sparking something, right? And Mr. Emi shared a lot of that. Like he wants us to go and then think and then see what we can do with this information. And it was also about reconnecting with that childlike part of us that is still curious, still hungry to learn, and still brave enough to try. So whether you are leaving this session with a fresh perspective, maybe a new burning question, or a bit more confidence in what you've known, you have taken a very important step, and that's all that matters. This is not the end, this is the beginning. We have many more sessions like this to come. We do this every month anyway, but then many more fascinating sessions and more hands-on sessions to come, where we are now going to move on into the doing, right? Because we know that there are more ideas to unlock and eventually teams to form, projects to build. And I honestly cannot wait to see what every one of us can create. So we are closing today. And yeah, just a disclaimer, right? This was to be the introduction to our hackathon, right? Uh, we are having a hackathon. The date has not been communicated yet. We've not shared the date yet, but there is a registration form for it. So Mr. Emi has told us that there are things to think about, right, based on all the things that we've learned today and even more. And so we want to be doers of the word as well, and not just hearers. And so this hackathon has been designed to group us into teams, or however that may be. So there's a registration form, and the link is in the chat box. It's a pinned chat. Hold on, let me share again. So this form, we are to, if you're interested in participating in the hackathon, please fill it, and then we'll be grouped into teams. The form includes important information. We're requesting for important information, such as the projects you like to work on. Do you want to on certain themes? Do you want to work on AI for social good? AI for women, stuff like that. Basically, that's how in-depth the form is, right? So if you are interested in not just hearing but also doing, in learning as you go, please register for the hackathon. In this hackathon, we're going to be building mini and large scale, and well, I won't say large scale, but a good scale project that can help our communities, our countries, whatever else. That basically feeds on that idea that we've had and we've nursed and we've nurtured. And this is just going to be a space where we're able to build the way we ought to. So yeah, like I said, register for the hackathon. We'll be grouped into teams based on the themes of projects we like to work on, and our availabilities and our schedules and our countries, stuff like that. So this way, it's a good way to connect with one another, because we are creating sub teams, so it's more intimate, it's more practical. We're going to be having facilitators and mentors that you could ask your questions, you could draw from their well of wisdom, stuff like that. And we only touched a bit of what is to come today, right? So please, let's register for the hackathon. And again, if you're not a part of the community, please join the community channels so that you are kept up to date about all the things that's going on here at AIBIA. And yeah, thank you for being a part of this. Please, if you have any feedback based on the creative thinking masterclass we just received, please do well to share. And you could also share on social media and tag us if you have questions or insights as well. So I want us to leave with this. Do not rush to have it all figured out. I think it's important that we stay curious, we keep wondering, and most of all, we keep showing up, because that's where the magic happens, right? The beautiful magic that forms the core of our stories. That's where it happens. It happens in our showing up. So yeah, thank you again. I was so glad to be your host. My name is Mary McQuarrie. I am the program manager here at AIBIA, and I will see you at the next one. Until then, let's stay open, let's stay building, and let us stay uniquely ourselves, our very much African selves. So thank you, everyone, and in the absence of questions or insights, bye. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Blessing, Eric, Ayobami, Jane, Valerie, Kikari, Salome, Rose, Joshua. Joshua, do you have a question?
No, I don't.
Okay. All right. All right, then. Thank you, Joshua. Thank you, Kelvin. And Joshua again. Thank you. And thank you so much, Mr. Emi, for taking out time out of a busy schedule to share with us on creative thinking. I really like the points you made about how it is equal to solution thinking. So yeah, thank you everyone and goodbye.